You're listening to Cinema Red Pill. I'm Sharon.
And I'm Joel.
Yes, on this episode, we are going to talk about the NgalabiShort Film Festival, the second annual NgalabiShort Film Festival. This is the second time, if there's any listener who actually keeps up with us out there, this is the second time we're covering the NgalabiShort Film Festival.
Yes.
Second time in a row. This shall be a significant thing for us because every year we exist.
This thing will exist, yeah.
Yes, this festival is there.
Yeah.
So this is the second festival. It took place on from 2nd of Feb on Friday to the 4th of February on Sunday. So it was a 3-day event.
Yeah.
Now Joel was one of the organizers of the festival, so I want him to talk a bit more about just introing the festival and what you guys be trying to achieve. He's like the main man. If you were the festival, you remember a guy in a superhero shirt curating the festival, that was Joel.
Yeah.
So Joel, tell us more about the festival.
Oh yeah, so this is the second edition of the NgalabiShort Film Festival. And it's a festival that celebrates short films in sub-Saharan Africa mainly, then goes to award-winning films from Africa, and we have partners from Germany and Britain, which is the British Council and the German Embassy. So we also include a German film program, and a British film program this year. Last year there was no British film program. Yeah, so we're getting bigger and bigger. This time around we also did a masterclass, a 2-day masterclass with some directors around Kampala. Our
missing comrade Timothy was in that.
Yes, he was in that. Should have been around to talk about that. So yeah, basically the short of it is like they all got to shoot one scene and really learn like the anatomy of building a scene and directing performances of actors. Yeah, it was a really great, fun and super intense experience. Yeah, so other than that, let's just head straight because we're learning to be brief. Yes.
We're going to head straight into first, like you said, the film is mostly trying to call attention to sub-Saharan African short films.
Yeah.
And so we're going to start with the films that we saw in that category. And due to that, the filmmakers that come and do the Q&As are all sub-Saharan. You heard from Kenya and which other country?
Rwanda.
Kenya and Rwanda and Uganda. Yes, so Kenya, Rwandese, Ugandan filmmakers were there. And we're going to first start with 2 of the films that we liked the most.
Yes.
And then we shall also we liked many things,
yes,
but we liked this more than the others. So we'll first talk about those 2, then speak about the other films and the British films we saw, and the German category films we saw.
Yeah.
I think let me start. I always start. So the first film, the one I really liked, which was actually by far my favorite film out of the festival, is a Ghanaian film called Diasporadical Trologia. Yes. The film is by a Ghanaian musician called Blitz the Ambassador.
Yes.
He's actually a really popular musician. He's a rapper, but he's based in the US.
Yes.
So the title is weird, and I didn't get any confirmation if this is what it is, but I know he's in the diaspora.
Yeah.
Diasporadical is not a real word.
No, it isn't.
So I think he's really just trying to say I'm a radical in the diaspora.
Exactly.
So yes, so his film is actually carrying many themes of trying to show how the African culture is misunderstood by the West. It's how most of it is. He's trying to present African culture and spirituality in a very interesting way, in ways that people don't perceive it to be. First, I want to say this film is on YouTube. You should really, really go and check it out. And when I went to rewatch it, I found that he had actually done these 3 movies separate, 3 sessions separate. So it was interesting to watch them separately and also watch them together. Separate, they're each their own narrative, but then he actually sets it up to really be a film. He adds context in it. So the context he added for this was that there was a girl who was in 3 places at the same time, which I interpret as the spirit of the girl in different bodies. I don't truly have an understanding of that. I'd be interested to know if you did. But that was my understanding. But this thing is so interesting to watch. It was the one thing that ended, and I said, why are you over? I really didn't want it to end. And my neighbor Philip called it like, man, this is the best thing, and it's like a music video because it's purely musical, and the guy is really good. His music is actually a proper mix of like real US rap and then mixed with traditional drums and like African beats. It is super cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, in this trilogy of things, each of the three stories has are quite different.
Yeah.
The first one is more of meeting a girl in the club, and then she sort of disappears and leaves him with some sort of memorabilia. This is me simplifying.
Yeah.
And then the second one, which was I think my favorite, because I think I completely understood what he was going for, because it's a story about a guy who's now in New York, and he's a father and a daughter. The father is then called by like a guy in a taxi. He was in a taxi and he has to pay him off, like for him not to be deported. It was sort of that story. And then he tells his daughter to go home because he doesn't want her to come with her in the car.
Yeah.
And as she's going, a spirit comes and like guides her through home. And then she's being all playful all through the way. And it is so entertaining to watch that thing. It is so nice. And there's a way the slow-mo the dancing is filmed. First of all, it's filmed very nicely. The predominant element in this section is the sunshine. Of this, and then it's all done in some slow-paced way. It's not. They're not filming in the pace. They're not presenting it in the pace that it was filmed because people dance quickly. It's really slow, and it is so visceral. Oh, you guys, that thing was good. But yes, the music, the themes, the dancing, and the entire spirituality thing about it, I really, really liked it. That movie is great. I know Joel liked it, so you should talk about it a bit.
You pretty much covered everything. Yes, it's awesome. Everything she said. Yes, watch it.
On YouTube.
On YouTube for free. Cool. So one of my favorite films was Nominee. I'd seen this film before in FESPACO. I fought to get it here. I'm so glad it got here. So Nominee pretty much is centered around like this couple in Morocco who they're getting, married off. They're in an arranged marriage, and they have to consummate the marriage, and the whole extended family is waiting outside for the girl to like bleed, and it's this super awkward situation. So it starts off all tense. You're feeling bad for literally everyone involved, and then it just gets so fucking weird. It just goes like off the rails, and it's a predominantly silent film. So it's this tug of war between this guy and this girl fighting the insecurities and just the entire situation and trying to figure out a way to please their family. And so it turns this really what is generally a horrible situation into something that's super comedic and even heartwarming. It ends off in a surprisingly light note that I wasn't expecting either. And I think it's the best. It was my favorite short film of 2017. And so glad that it made it here. Do you have any thoughts on this movie?
This was the one film I was unsure of what I am unsure of it. I think I was more entertained by what the people around me were saying. Because I think we haven't said the turnout was huge.
Turnout was huge.
Oh my god.
People standing throughout the screen.
I came late, so I was behind with the rowdy people who are not serious about this stuff. So they were really throwing many comments. It was actually more entertaining with what they were saying, but also more disgusting sometimes because you know how people can interpret some things. So I don't think I got it. I don't think I got the film. I don't think I got the vibe of the film. The times when it was attempting for me to laugh, I didn't laugh. I didn't find it funny.
It's something I didn't think would work. I don't think would really work because it's like a dark comedy on a situation that is pretty bad. I could never picture that situation in a funny way at all. But I think what it does well is that it launches us into those really tough situations and diffuses them with something completely stupid, like the man growling like a cat, which was like a big what the fuck moment. Okay, but that stuff aside, for me the ending was pretty redeeming. So it's not like the characters within it all of a sudden got this sort of Western mentality about how relationships and marriage work, and then use that to solve the situation.
No, they just
sort of
themselves.
Yeah, they sort of worked within the constraints of their world, and to me that made it something special. At least it's not an everyday thing that I get to see in a movie. So yeah, I found it very interesting.
I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's good either.
Yeah,
I think it's a weird way I'm way too neutral, and I genuinely think I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't get the tone of the film at all.
Yeah, right, cool. So next one.
My second one, which you were surprised that I liked, is Idi Amin's Boat. It's by Grace Nabisenke, an alumni to the Kampala Film School where Timothy studies.
Yeah.
So
Where are you, Timothy?
I know, yeah. Timothy's a fox. So Idi Amin's Boat is set on the shores of Lake Victoria. So there's these tour guides. They're tour guides. There's a new tour guide that comes on.
Yeah.
And the old guys kind of tell him a story about a boat that's overturned on the shore on one of the islands. Was it an island?
It was an
on
island.
one of the islands there was a boat that's turned over.
Yeah.
And they told him a story and told him that is Idi Amin's boat. If you go there, the spirits will kill you. No one comes out of there alive. Blah blah blah. It actually sets up a serious tone.
Yeah.
And what I really liked is how I actually thought it was a serious tone, and its switch actually surprised me, and I really liked it because it turns out the film is not trying to tell some sort of historical story. It's actually just one big joke, and I really liked that. Yeah. So the thing is, there's very few films like that, and I get that because it's people who have more value in drama, a lot more,
so
and people who give you a message, people who present some facts and information you don't know, and then present it artistically, are the ones who are applauded more than anyone who comes just to bullshit,
just to
and
entertain you.
Yeah,
yes.
Like just straight up, let me make you laugh a bit, and I liked it. And this movie is so simple, you guys. Even the joke is so simple.
Yes,
it's a prank you would pull on your friend tomorrow.
It's a prank you've seen 100 times.
100 times. I just don't know why I really like that. It was extremely simple. Like, this is actually cute because short films are so brief, you guys. This is an 11-minute film.
Yeah.
She's not trying to build a character. No. Just make it a joke.
You're
going to learn how to frame a shot. You're going to learn how to deal with something. You're going to learn shit over this 11 minutes of film.
Yes.
But anyway. Yeah, I really like the film. She plans to make it a feature. Yeah. I'm really curious on how she should work with that. But this was actually the other film I would like to spotlight.
Yeah. This is a film where I feel like you'd go 50-50 on how it ends. Because because you'll either appreciate how it just is one big joke, or you'll be the kind of person that wants it to actually pay off and have this whole giant story about it.
There's a lot of those in the festival actually. So.
Exactly, yeah. But it's not even then. I don't think it's a movie anyone can hate. It's just a sweet, simple film. Yeah. Okay. So the other movie that I liked that I want to spotlight is The Bad Mexican. Yeah, that has to be spotlighted.
It had to be. Like, if you had not done, I was definitely going to put out Idi Amin's Boat.
Yeah. So The Bad Mexican I'll say it's the directorial debut of Loukman Ali. He's primarily a visual effects artist. Okay. And he's only now sort of started. He has also done a bunch of music videos, really great music videos. But he's only now sort of trying to branch into writing and directing for film. Okay. So visually, this movie is beautiful. I walked in expecting that, but it's also funny as fuck, which I was not expecting, and it's so competently done. When I did the Q&A, I told him how his edits reminded me of Guy Ritchie's, heavily stylistic. Like, this guy knows his stuff. I mean, like, for a first, go around at a film. This was like brilliantly done. It was really competent, super entertaining. It has a lot of lowbrow, potty humor. Yeah. And it literally has potty humor. Ooh. Really has potty humor in it. And yeah, I think yeah, it's one of those things that's a crowd pleaser, and a crowd pleaser, like you're saying, how Uganda is mostly making dramas and movies with messages. It's nice to see a movie that's just completely empty of substance, and it's just because it's basically a story about a guy that has to go for like this job interview, then he shits his pants, and then he owes this guy $300. It's fucking ridiculous. This movie is also free online on Vimeo and on YouTube, so I recommend watching it. Please watch it. Yeah,
I'm going to link all this stuff that's free online in the description of the episode.
Yeah, because I think this is definitely a talent to look for, and he's also talked about how he's going to attack doing feature films this year.
Okay.
And yeah, he wants to be that guy that makes like commercially viable Ugandan films, which we badly need. So I am very excited to see what he does next, and I can't recommend this movie enough. I don't even want to spoil it too much. Just go and watch it.
So what I'll say about Bad Mexican is I'd seen it on YouTube before, of course.
Yeah.
And I remember someone coming up to me and hyping me about it. You know, that's always a bad thing. There's nothing worse than someone to do that to you. Someone came at me and I hyped the shit out of it. Like, have you seen Loukman Ali? First of all, he came at me. Do you know Loukman Ali?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't know Loukman Ali. I thought she was talking about some Western person.
Yeah.
I don't know Loukman Ali. And then hyped the film to the highest capacity. Then I made the greatest mistake of watching it at work. You know, in office setting when everyone is at work, and then you sit and watch a YouTube video. You can't laugh out loud.
Yes.
And the way you're consuming it is very different from if you were in a free environment. So I remember I watched it and I thought, but then on that day, first of all, I was laughing at things and no one was making me laugh at the things. I was laughing at the things, having the time of my life. I'm like, oh my god, watching things in a crowd is something. Theater should never die. You guys, there's a difference between watching things with people and watching things on your own. Some things are, oh my god, especially comedies.
Yes.
I just thought of how girls trip when I watched it in the theater. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And this was really similar. Like, it's super fun.
Yes,
it was the most fun.
It was
at the festival.
Yeah,
by a mile. The most fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, spotlighted our two favorites, so now we're going to really peruse through the other things we saw and which we had thoughts about.
Yeah.
I would say there was The Last Breath by Jordan Brace.
Yes.
He's also an alumni of Kampala Film Schools, and his film is about a little girl. Her mother has died, and then she gets this connection to a red balloon. And yeah, when it started, I immediately told Philip, oh my god, that's shot for shot the red balloon. there's this scene. And indeed, he was really inspired by the red balloon. Yes. A short film you should seek out if you want to see. Timothy hyped me with the red balloon also. It's that who made me watch the red balloon. But that film was actually, it was fine. But do you have any thoughts on it? Any real significant thoughts on it?
I also thought it was fine. I really liked its concept. It didn't pay off for me as much as I would have hoped, but it's not like it fell apart and became crap. Like I still enjoyed it. It was fine. It was a sweet movie. It's about a daughter and her father and dealing with grief, and I'm usually super into movies like that. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the stuff that he does moving forward.
What else did you like or not like, or would want to talk about?
I'd say Samaki Mchanganya, Fish of the Land. I think that was the only film actually we had from Tanzania.
Oh, that film.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell
that
me.
was that was a fantastic film. It was the social commentary stroke drama stroke kind of thriller murder kind of film. And it's basically this sort of it sort of critiques the whole Africa Rising concept and how it's not like benefiting the poor as much as it says that it is. So it has this main character who believes he's doing good, but he's stepping on a couple of people along the way and being okay with that. And and like trying to get away with it basically. So he knocks this woman down by accident. He's like launching the first Tanzanian-owned communications company. He knocks this woman down and is like, oh no, it's going to like screw up my whole life, everything I've planned, blah blah blah. It just winds up killing a bunch of other people. It has a trippy sort of ending, but then it's sort of like after the ending, like the epilogue is pretty much like on that. It was like, this is what we meant.
Tell
yeah,
you what it was trying to
exactly.
say.
Like what the price of development and urbanization is. You have all this documentary footage of like people's houses and shops like being mowed down, and it's some heartbreaking shit actually. So this movie was made back in 2013, but it's still so fucking relevant today. Yeah.
In that faith, I want to talk about the other film which was also presenting a message, but it was doing it more strongly. And it was called Maria. The filmmaker was actually there.
Yeah.
That would be memorable for anyone who was there. You'd remember when the filmmaker stood up and spoke. So Maria is about a young girl who is standing against a political heavyweight.
Yes.
And he's trying to put her down. He asks her brother-in-law to make sure she drops out of the race. So it's quite a heavy film. This film is every word that any character is saying is to service the message.
Yes.
The film is really, it's barely concerned about the actual characters. It's trying to tell you something, and it is trying to tell it to you loud and clear. And the film goes, and then I really liked hearing the filmmaker speak though, because he oozes of that message.
So much.
The movie is actually an extension of himself. That man gave a speech, you guys.
You're so riled up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I wish I could have recorded it because that man was hella political.
Yeah.
And I liked that because it actually meant, because you'd look at it and you'd see it's funded by the UN.
Yes.
So like, these guys are having an agenda, but the guy is actually a political
actually
guy.
really cares
he
about
actually
what
gives a fuck. This is not someone who was just looking for a quick cash in. He's actually super motivated and wants the youth to vote.
Yes.
You guys, 65%.
He dropped statistics in the movie, 65%.
And they made it crystal clear in the film.
Yeah.
And that it's pretty different from the film you talked about, because for it it's not really doing that. It's more portraying something. It just does that at the end. It's way too crystal clear.
Yeah. By the way, it tries to sort of be subtle.
But it's quite subtle in what it's doing.
No, I too really loved Maria. I was having lived in Nairobi for a while. I was able to sort of gauge like the whole corrupt thing of like you have members of parliament hiring goons instead of campaign managers. And you have like this girl. She might have been a little too perfect, but I mean she really worked for the story. She sort of represented that element of positive change that actually wanted to change stuff versus the status quo that just wanted to step on the poor, misinform them, and use them over and over and over again. And if again you were there and you had his speech, he really went deep into that and elaborated and re-elaborated on that piece.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it was pretty.
It was pretty intense.
I think I would be pushing to say there's any other I would really want to talk about. Is there any? There were many films, guys, and we're not going to talk about all of them. That would be overkill.
Yeah, I'll say. Let me see. I'll say that I enjoyed Soko Sonko. It's also.
Oh my god, the Kenyan film with the hair. That movie was fun.
Yes, it was fun. Yes, fun. And I want to spotlight as many fun African movies as possible.
Guys, that movie was so fun.
Because I'm so tired of. So tired. Let's stop with the drama.
No. Let's talk about Soko Soko.
Yes,
how can I forget? I like that movie so much.
Yes.
I mostly loved the home scenes.
Yes.
They felt so authentic, you guys. And the football scenes.
Yes.
That movie is really, really
perfect.
good. It would have been a shame if we didn't talk about it, actually.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead.
Well, briefly speaking, daughter needs to get her hair done. Mother falls sick. Dad has football match to watch, but daughter's hair needs to get fixed. So he has to find a way to watch a football match and get his daughter's hair fixed. But to get his daughter's hair fixed, he has to navigate like downtown Nairobi and figure out all his hairstylists and how like hair works and all these things he thought were like easy. He'd just walk in and figure it out, and it's just insane.
Yeah.
And it escalates and escalates and just blows completely out of proportion. And I think this is a movie that was just solid. I don't think I felt a weak point. It was just solid from beginning to end. Even the resolution was hilarious. How like the daughter and father like resolved that situation at the end was so hilarious.
The movie was funny.
Yes, it was so funny. And yeah, I want to see more African movies.
Do you have any backstory on the director?
Oh yeah, the director's name is Ekwa Msangi. She's Tanzanian born, and currently she's based in the US. She's studying film there, and she's making films regularly. She has also mentored actually for Maisha a couple of times.
Wow,
yeah,
nice.
she mentored actually when Timothy won. She was the one that was mentoring. Yeah, yeah. So she's a very, very, very brilliant person. She's a very sensitive soul. Yeah, she does a bunch of different things. If you met her, you wouldn't think she had this in her, that kind
like
of
that
comedy.
sense of
Yeah, that sense of humor.
Oh my
But yeah,
God.
she's such a brilliant.
Is it available
filmmaker.
online anywhere?
Unfortunately, it is not.
When did she make
available
it?
for free.
Recently?
She made it in about 2013 as well.
That's far.
Yeah, but it's still sort of locked behind somewhere. Hopefully, she'll release
movie
it somewhere.
Hilarious. My favorite thing was there was a scene where there's a lot of exchanges between the police officers and a mob justice kind of scenario where people are running after this main character and they're trying to debate on whether the police officers should take him to prison.
Yeah.
And they play some sort of blame game, and that dialogue was top notch, right? Because I could actually imagine people saying those things. It was so funny.
Exactly.
It is so hilarious. That movie was actually one of the best. I'm ashamed I didn't.
Actually,
think
yeah,
of
that
it.
entire conversation
Oh god.
with the mob and the cops and everyone, that was a very, very authentic conversation.
It was very good.
Great dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we need to at least briefly mention Nectar.
Oh.
Yeah. It so far has only premiered in ZIF, now in NgalabiShort Film Festival. This is only 2 festivals that it's been in so far, and I do think it's actually a pretty solid film as far as Ugandan films go. As far as comedy goes, it has a very even technically, it has an interesting lighting scheme.
Y'all have busted on the lighting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean
It's
it was
good because
something.
it's
Yeah,
dark, but you can still see the images.
Exactly, because usually when people, if you've watched the shots where people shoot in huts, it's just, you can see that obvious artificial spotlight like jumping
You
from
could
somewhere.
think it was actual candlelight.
Yes, but yeah, this one felt like that dingy candlelight, so it felt authentic, and I found the main character actually pretty interesting, and I found the fact that you have an antagonist that's asleep the entire time and she still manages to screw over the main character. I found that entire concept also pretty interesting, and also its sort of approach to filmmaking was just having the whole movie is monologue. It's just one long narration, which to me is also kind of bold because the rule is usually show don't tell, but this movie just goes ahead and tells. So yeah, I found that commendable. At least it's not like a lot of Ugandan films I've seen, coming out recently.
I found that voiceover so charming. I couldn't move past it. I really, most of the context within that voiceover was kind of lame.
Okay.
And its delivery was not great. So it was overall quite jarring to me. Yeah, I'm not entirely with that film.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely with it. I'm sorry.
It's cool. It's
I'm
cool.
really sorry.
Yeah. So I think we've covered I think at least highlight.
We've
African
highlighted the
films.
main African films. So,
Yeah.
like Joel mentioned, first let's start with the British program.
Yes.
Whereby me, I don't. Okay, maybe. So let's start with the
Okay.
British program.
Mm-hmm.
So on the second day, on Saturday, there was an hour long of British program films
Yes.
where we saw about 6 different films, 7, 8 around there.
You get 8, yeah.
I would say, Joel, you start.
The British film program was a little hit and miss, but I did have some films, I guess, that I would want to just briefly say I enjoyed. There was Robot and Scarecrow, which was really enjoyable.
It was very good. Yes.
Yeah, it was a film about it was a love story actually,
Yes,
about
between a robot.
literally a robot and a scarecrow.
Yes.
There was Tower XYZ, which I also found interesting. It was more of like a spoken word sort of thing, where we had these shots of the ghetto in Britain and this black girl, like, yeah, saying a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I found that interesting. And I guess the last film I found interesting was the Lizard of Unmarriedness. I think was my favorite of the British program. Yeah, where it's also like one long sort of monologue. It's this girl telling us a story about how she went to see a witch doctor. Yeah, so I think out of the British film program, I like Lizard of Unmarriedness the most. It was this girl. The way she shot it is she shot like two versions of like her giving the same account of the story.
It was good.
Yeah, which at first walking in is a bit jarring, but once you settle in and like you would hear both sides at the same time, it's like super interesting. And yeah, I really enjoyed hearing her speak.
Great, Joel. So let me tell you guys.
Okay.
So the British film program entirely is filled with black casts only. And the thing is, Joel has highlighted some films that are actually nice. But when you get to the third film, you realize I don't even think quality was an element into what they were trying to pick for these films. I think it was just, is it a black story? Because there was a movie that was so bad, you guys. I'm like, what is that? Why is this film here? It is because the actors are entirely black. I'm like, what? I really don't think that's a good idea. I think if you're going to make a British program, just present to us great film. It's not that we entirely relate to black pain, because the black pain is really different in different places. So it doesn't. I don't think it's adding any value to just make sure that the characters are black.
Yeah.
Bring a good film, which is what the German program actually does. So I have beef for that British program. I actually have beef because I do not think there was any thought towards the quality of the film. I'm saying
Okay,
the ones
okay.
you've said I actually really like.
Okay,
I liked Scarecrow and Robot. I liked the
lizard.
gentrification one.
Yeah, that one
Was
great.
really good. The chick with the thing, it was
The
actually
lizard
good.
was nice. But how did you feel about the I Believe in Pink one?
That was good. Let's move on to the German program, which is more interesting.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So the German program, I think we start with Watu Wote.
Yeah.
Because Watu Wote is the Oscar-nominated film. Oscar-nominated short film. It's directed by a German lady called
Katja Benrath.
Katja Benrath. German lady. This was her film school project.
Yeah,
Yes.
grad film project.
Grad
yeah.
film project. She chose to tell the story, which is about a lady who goes on a bus to border region between Kenya and Somalia, and
Yeah.
right when we meet her, she's really anti-Muslim, completely and utterly,
Yes.
because the Muslims killed her dad and her husband and
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
So she's anti-Muslim. She's can't even buy their water or anything. Then a bus attack happens, and the Muslims do not out her, because when Al-Shabaab comes, like many people know,
Yeah.
when they attack, they try to find out who's Muslim and who's Christian. They start
Yeah.
asking Muslim questions. They ask them, and then they
kill the infidels.
kill the
basically.
Christians. They leave the
Yeah.
Muslims, but then the Muslims don't out her, so it changes her perspective.
Yeah.
That's the whole film.
Yeah, based on a true story.
Yes.
Yes.
So this film is, quite frankly, just okay.
Yeah.
It's just a fine film.
Mhm.
It's moving.
Mhm.
It's just fine. I think maybe because of how there's so many limitations within a short film.
Mhm.
You could imagine if there's a lot of character built and then this is the climax of the film, this would be some gut-wrenching stuff.
Exactly.
And then they show a real long PTSD aftermath of this character that you can imagine it in. Joel, you actually told me this when you had already watched it, that it would work better as a feature length. But this film is really just fine.
Yeah.
Although I thought that, wow, this film is really just fine. So just fine films can get into the Oscars. But I imagine they had the German push, right?
Yeah, I suppose it was a German push, and also that's the kind of story that would sell, I think.
And people telling those stories all the time. But the movie is well shot. It has all those
exactly
things that our films lack, like bad. Something will have bad sound.
Yeah, like exactly. So to get that story that well shot, that's the part that's difficult.
Yes.
So I can get how it got into the Oscars, and it does deserve to be in the Oscars. It does have like professional level filmmaking. Just the opening scene with her walking through the street, that was some legit shit already for me. Again, yeah, like Sharon said, I think this would work really well as a feature-length film. There's some interesting side characters in there, especially like the teacher, the Muslim teacher, who later will figure out is a pretty prominent character in that story. In a feature-length film, if you had more development, the payoff at the end, I think, would be way heavier.
Yes, the payoff.
There's even a student like trying to sell stuff for his fees. That's interesting. Even in a feature-length film, we could get some backstory on one of the terrorists themselves.
The Al-Shabaab itself,
Al-Shabaab,
it would make that whole... It would make more sense. Like,
exactly.
The scene happens, there's not enough weight to carry the scene, to really bring your emotions
to really
out to
bring
its highest.
To the highest, exactly.
You know,
it's just like the okay level. It doesn't get to...
Yeah, it doesn't really bring the tears out of you.
Yeah.
And if it was long... would be sobbing. I can imagine I would cry my eyes out. Those things really kill me.
Yeah.
Because the context of the story is so sad. Like, if you really think about it, it is very, very sad stuff.
It is. It's a solid film.
Your favorite film in the German program? Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, which is difficult because I think I loved most of the German film program. But my favorite of all was Ships Passing in the Night, which was the first film that screened. It was an animated film on pretty much the immigration sort of crisis. And walking in, I thought at first, okay, I've seen this story before, even in animation. So I thought, okay, it will be fine, but I've like seen this already. But it sort of got to me. It had this hook where like you have this fisherman, and like his whole deal for traveling to Europe is find out where his fish has gone. He's not traveling there because, Africa is fake and I want to live in Europe now. It's like, oh no, I've been fishing my whole life here, now all the fish is gone. So it's like, I went to follow these ships that are taking all our fish to Europe and see what they're doing with it there. And I found that so poignant because it sort of had this added subtext of sort of these countries having their resources plundered and the people sort of left in a state where they have nothing. And they feel they have no other option but to go to where they feel there's opportunity and stuff like that. And yeah, we sort of washes ashore, and then you sort of have this semi-friendship, semi-love story with this sort of hobo chick that's roaming the beach, and like, you'd say she's a beach rat, right? She's like picking up stuff. One of Sharon's favorite movies of all time. Yes. It's like picking up stuff, but yeah, he gets locked up, and for me, that all that shit really hit me in like all the right places, gave me all the right feels, and yeah, and again, because it was shot in animation, I really enjoyed it, and there's like all the backgrounds are sort of colored in like crayon and like painting, and yeah, I really enjoyed watching it just visually, and just the way it was structured. And the way the characters' bodies moved. Yeah, it was just a brilliant fucking film. So it's kind of film I'd want to make.
You have 3 minutes to talk about the other films.
The other film. I'll say just one.
I know.
Yeah, which is out of frame. Which is probably everyone's favorite film.
That movie is so good.
Yes. And Out of Frame pretty much plays on the technicalities of film. You have a character who like pretty much gets so lonely to the point that he falls out of frame. Literally out of frame of the film. And then he joins this sort of this support group of people called the Outtakes.
Yeah.
And they all have like different film related anomalies.
So
There's a dude that's like dealing with jump cuts. There's a dude whose subtitles always appear when he talks. There's the token black chick who's hilarious herself. She's there to fill the quota. And then you have this chick who like is sort of stuck in a freeze frame. And then we have a love story developing between the guy that's out of frame and the chick stuck in a freeze frame because she can sort of move around in his empty frame. So yeah, it starts off like funny and then has this actually really sweet love story to it. And I thought it's one of the most clever things that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I wouldn't mind, I wanted to watch 90 minutes of that entire story. I didn't want it to end.
That was by far the most engaging film at the festival. It is so funny. Yes, it's so clever, so self-referential. It is very, very good.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have German films that you like?
Joel, you've spoken about all the films I like. I think the one I significantly liked was Out of Frame. The other one was the Ode to Silent Cinema was cute.
It was cute, but
it was really just cute.
Yeah.
Then there was this film that had the one about the bear.
The one about the bear, yes.
There was the one about the bear.
That was also nice.
My god, that movie was really, really nice.
Yeah.
The German films were good. That is
very good, very strong selection of films. Just all of them.
There was no. Okay, so the British collection. That British collection was even laughable. Bambi, they overlined.
True.
But this festival was a mad success.
Yeah, it was.
Kudos to you guys.
Yeah.
The turnout was so huge. You can see there's actually an audience out there for this thing.
Yeah, which is really, really great.
I'm so happy. I want more.
Yeah,
I wish UFF was more interactive like this.
Yeah.
If they would even spend less time but have more interactive sessions with the filmmakers and be in one spot. I insist this festival should take place in one place.
Yeah.
The dispersed setting doesn't make sense. And really Q&As are the best thing. People come to meet we want to meet the cast, ask them questions. That's what festivals are all about.
Yes,
it's great that they get money, but man, those things really make it the best thing. Festivals are great, guys. Attend this shit. It's the dopest.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Yes, we are done.
Okay, this has been our episode on the second annual Ngalabi Short Film Festival that happens in Kampala, Uganda, Bukoto Street at Gotre Zentrum.
The Gotre Zentrum rooftop.
Yes. I'm Sharon.
And I'm Joel.
Timothy is missing. The three of us. We are Cinema Red Pill.
Yes.
Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Subscribe to our channels on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on Stitcher. Please email at sharon@cinemaredpill.com if you want to contact directly. Feedback would be great, guys. Thank you for listening. Share our podcast with people who you think will like it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.